Guess what time it is? It's time. What noise was that? It's time for Iron Flame. So I actually had this pre-ordered, like back when Fourth Wing originally first came out. I pre-ordered this book immediately then. Technically, the pre-ordered one is not going to get delivered until tomorrow, but my husband, who also edits the videos for this channel, he's like in the loop about book stuff, even though he doesn't read books. But he was super nice. He went to Barnes & Noble without me asking, and he got this copy of Iron Flame with the sprayed edges, and he got this copy of Fourth Wing, which also has the sprayed edges. It's like a little special edition, and it's red, and it looks different from the original copy of Fourth Wing, which the sprayed edges, the ones with the dragons, have eluded me. And I told myself I wasn't gonna let that happen again. And I'm so glad that I have two matching sprayed edge Fourth Wing covers. Even though these ones don't have the dragons, I kind of wish they would have done it, but it's okay. They're still really cool. And I feel like they're gonna look good together on the shelf. Anthony also said at Barnes & Noble, it was super packed with everybody buying Iron Flame, and people were literally like crutching it, like their lives depended on it, and there was like 8 left already, and this is the first day it was out, and this was like way earlier in the day. So let's talk about Fourth Wing. What happened last? What are we expecting for Iron Flame, which is a bigger book than Fourth Wing, which is crazy because Fourth Wing I feel like already was a pretty big book. What do we expect? Just so you know, this vlog is going to be full of spoilers. This is a spoiler vlog. I'm letting you know now, spoilers potentially from Fourth Wing, spoilers for Iron Flame. I'm gonna be talking to y'all as I go through this journey, just because I think it'd be fun. So if you haven't read it yet and you don't want to get spoiled, go read it first and then come back and watch this video. So I'm super excited in Iron Flame to learn more about the rebellion or the revolution. You know, we got the brother, Brennan, I think was his name. He kind of came back to life. Well, he was never really truly dead. That's fun. There's also the whole dynamic with Taryn's original writer having died to save Brennan, presumably to have brought him back to life. We have Dane being a traitor, being the bane of our existence. So there's that. I don't feel like he knew he was sending Violet to her potential death. I don't think he necessarily intended that, but you know, snitches get stitches, Dane. What's up with that? So that's gonna be some drama. That's exciting. That's gonna be juicy later on. We have Violet no longer trusting Xaden, which it took all of last book to build the trust and build the relationship. And just like that, he lost her trust because he was not forthcoming with this massive, massive information about the Vernon. Were they the Vernon? And essentially, the entire government has been lying to the people this whole time. The things touted as folklore were not so folklore. They were real. They were right outside their wards, right outside their city boundaries or their country boundary, whatever. And now they're killing and threatening innocent people. And it's so wild that the rebellion, the children of the rebellion were painted in this light, like this terrible, terrible light, when in reality, they were just the ones trying to warn everybody and to help the people who don't happen to live inside of the wards. So it's really cool. I love the politics in this book. I really like politics in fantasy books and make it politics with fantasy romance, and I'm just like I love that. And this is great for that. So I'm so looking forward to Iron Flame. I can't wait to see where the story goes from here. I have purposely avoided all reviews. I've not looked at what anybody has to say about this book so far, but I want to just go into this with my own perspective, tell you how I feel about it without getting influenced by anyone else for this book. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's start. Let's just see what happens when you open the book. Is there anything cool? Is there anything fun? We have our gorgeous map. I love maps. Maps in fantasy books, peak. I'm so glad that they have maps because I feel like my brain cannot comprehend where things are without a visual reference sometimes. Look, we have a little informational about the different sections, like claw section, flame section, tail section, and then the squads. That's so cool that they included quotes from book talkers, like on the very first page. That's awesome. Book talk was such a huge reason for this book blowing up the way it did. So that's really cool that they kind of gave credit. My tea got cold because I talked too long. Ugh. The book just started and I'm literally already smiling. Like, I'm giddy. It's just so sweet. Like, her getting to see her brother again and him getting to see her again. She thought he was dead. He healed her. Oh, family moment. I forgot how much I loved the relationship between Taryn and Violet. That was probably one of my most favorite things in the first book. Like, their bond together. I love it so much. I love Taryn so much. He's one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite, and he's a freaking dragon. I'm annoyed how everybody is talking about Violet like she's not even there in the room, and I'm glad that she finally stuck up for herself and gave them the business. First chapter done. I'm enjoying it so far. I feel like this book, just like her first one, once you kind of get into it, it just gets so easy to read, and then next thing you know, you're just like flying through it. And I do really like how they're setting up a bunch of contention already with Violet specifically. Like, there's a lot of distrust. Xaden is still there vouching for her, but she still doesn't fully trust him either. There's the whole brother thing. She doesn't really know him, even though he's her brother, but she hasn't seen him for like 6 years, and now all of a sudden he's alive again. I think we're about to see what Adarna looks like now, so I'm super excited. So she has accelerated growth. What does that mean? Is she in her like rebellious little teen angst phase because she's an adolescent dragon now? So I'm currently on page 43 and it literally looks like I haven't even made a dent yet. This book is so big. But we just left off with the graduation, which this is the part that I was kind of wondering about, because obviously Violet is only a first year and Xaden is a third year, and now he's graduating, but their dragons are mated. So then he's gonna have to come back and visit her at some point pretty frequently. So that's gonna be interesting. I do also like that they have contention right now, obviously because she still doesn't fully trust him because of everything. I think that that is good for the story because they're not just like together and it's all fine and good. Because I mean, we already had the whole enemies to lovers thing in the first book. If they were just fine and good, it might not be as exciting, I guess. Like, having that little extra element of drama, I think just makes it more fun to read about. But I mean, it's clearly not gonna last forever. Like, eventually Violet's gonna forgive him, hopefully, or get over it. I mean, she kind of already has, I guess, in a way-ish. But just their whole situation, just them being able to communicate in their heads and just their dragons being bonded, it's like they're just gonna be around each other all the time. Like, there's nothing you can do, Violet. You're gonna have to forgive him and get over it eventually. So I'm probably gonna try to read a little bit more. I don't know how much, because it's already like 2:30 in the morning, and then we'll pick it back up tomorrow. But so far, so good. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It definitely is reminding me of why I loved it so much the first time around in the first book. Just how easily it was to get back into the story and just to remember all these characters and just remember the dynamics. So it's currently the next day. I did not get as far into Fourth Wing as I would like. I ended up watching King of the Hill and going to bed. So we're gonna try to read a lot more today, see how far I can get. So we recently got introduced to Sloane, and I'm kind of annoyed with her. Like, girl, why are you hating on Violet so much? Like, your brother, he was in this war college where death is a very high possibility. You've just joined this war college as well where death is a very high possibility. Stop putting this all on Violet, okay? Calm down, stop having an attitude, and chill out. She's trying to help you. Like, I know you're grieving, girl, but so is everybody else here. I also love that we have an unhinged dragon right now. That adds an extra element of flair. This orange tail who's crazy, and he just burned everybody up with no regard to who was in front of his path. Wow. Laying on the sofa, a cup of orange juice in my hand. Waiting Y'all, I'm like upset right now. I'm at the part where this freaking crazy dragon is literally like burning everybody and anything, even people who don't deserve it right now. That is so freaking wild. This new, I don't know exactly his position, but Major Varish, he's the one who I think replaced Dane's dad. He's just as crazy as his dragon. It makes sense why they're bonded. Like, he just took out so many people. My heart breaks for the dragons that were bonded to these people that just died for no reason. I'm so sad and upset right now. I like this book. Oh my gosh! Sorry, that was so extra. I'm like freaking out because Taryn just showed up and he's defending Violet, and like this is literally why Taryn's my favorite character. I don't even care. I love how he communicates with her, he protects her, he's here, he's talking to this other dragon like, no, I'm the bigger dragon. You can't burn my girl. Love that. Momo, I can't hit, bro. Momo. Honey, I can't. You're blocking me.
Think I'm gonna paint him in 3D.
So it's currently almost 2 a.m. I just got home from a Final Fantasy orchestra concert, which was kind of random because I've never played Final Fantasy before or really knew anything about it. But our friends really wanted to go, so we went with them. Fit check. I like these tights a lot. My friend also got me such a nice gift I was totally not expecting. They're ACOTAR themed candles, and each candle has a different scent for the characters. It was such a sweet gift. She knows I love ACOTAR and reading so much, so that was super nice of her. Okay, so now let's talk about Iron Flame. So I did carve out a good chunk of it, which is crazy because I'm not even halfway done yet, which is insane. This book is so freaking long. I am getting to the halfway point though, so that's kind of a big accomplishment for me in my mind. I feel like it's taking me a long time to read this, even though when I'm reading, I feel like it's flying by. But I will say, so far, sometimes I think in my head, okay, did this book need to be this long? There are times where Violet and Xaden are kind of going back and forth to visit each other, and they're just being angsty, and Xaden's still just keeping secrets. And although it's entertaining to read and I'm not finding myself bored or anything, I'm kind of waiting to get to the next thing. You know, like we have a lot of unanswered questions still about so many things, and we're getting hints and teases, but we're not really getting any actual information. And I do feel like a lot of that is gonna be revealed towards the end of the book, but I also don't wanna have to read like 500 pages of stuff just to get all the info dumped in like the last 75 to 100 pages or so. But I still do find myself wanting to read this book when I'm not reading it. And as stupid as that sounds, I feel like that's a sign that I'm enjoying the book, like when I'm actively looking forward to the next time I can pick it up and read it. And that's still happening with this book. So I'm definitely still enjoying it. I just wish the pacing would pick up just a little bit. And like, Rebecca, I love you, but did this book need to be like 600 pages? I mean, we'll see. I haven't finished it yet. I can't tell you, but I'm thinking maybe not. Xaden still is keeping things from her. I mean, he's starting to give her more information now that she can keep her little shields up all the time or whatever. But is that going to be enough for her to trust him again? Part of me is kind of like, I just want them to get over it, you know, because I'm just like, okay, how long is this going to go on? Like, let's get over it and move forward with this rebellion and whatnot, because y'all just need to work together and you love each other and like, let's go. Even though like I do understand why she was upset in the first place, but like I'm also kind of ready to be over with it just for the sake of the story, I guess. I'm gonna try to carve another big old chunk out, hopefully get a little bit past the halfway point. Okay, y'all, time for a little update. I am finally over halfway done, and it's going going down. Things are getting really crazy right now, and it's so exciting actually to read about. I've been waiting for this. We're finally here. So it all started to get super, super crazy when they went and stole the little book, or I think they call it the tome, the little booklet from the King's archive thing. That was wild. And then to Violet getting caught, being tortured and interrogated by Varys, being sold out by Nolan. He was a traitor. He betrayed her. That is wild. Then from Dane flipping and saving her, and now he's a part of the whole rebellion. And speaking of the rebellion, we have basically all of the students, well, a lot of them, and some of the professors, like a massive amount of dragons, now just flying towards the border. This is so epic and cool. Even though I'm confused about a lot of stuff, like I have a lot of unanswered questions in my head, and like things that I'm like, wait, how is this, but this does this? And like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get the answer for that, or I don't know if I'm just like thinking about things that most people don't care to know more details about. But in this moment, it's really epic and it's fun, and we still have, you know, a while to read. So we'll see what else happens. It feels like there was a lot put into this book, like so many different things. And I could understand what was going on, but at some points I was like, okay, whoa, we had this that happened at the beginning of the book, and now we're already here, and it just doesn't even feel like it's the same book, even though it was. Like the whole Sloane storyline at the beginning, like I thought that was going to be a lot bigger of a thing than it was, and it wasn't really. Then we had like Jack Barlow returning too. That was a thing. And like, I can't tell if he sold her out or not, because they said that he was the one who told Nolan about her, but I don't know if that was just like casually told Nolan. I don't know about that one. I also remember I said that I was going to avoid people's reviews for this, and I accidentally saw like 5 people's reviews on Goodreads, so that didn't happen. I'm still, you know, trying not to let that kind of affect how I feel, even though I will say, before I even saw them, I was kind of thinking that rating. I'm not going to say it. Well, I'll say my rating at the end when I finish it. But it might be going kind of in that direction. We'll see though. Like, I still am really liking this book. I don't know if I'm liking it as much as I liked the first one. Something else that's really cool to me so far at this point in the book is that, you know, they're at a war college. They've been literally training to go to war and fight. And now we finally have like a big war moment, but it's not really what we had anticipated. Like, they're fighting on the other side and doing it in a different way, and kind of in like they're leading versus whereas before it was like always the professors or leadership telling them what to do. And now it is cool to see them finally putting the skills they learned to use, flying into war together. Because I mean, that's literally what this has all been about this whole time. Everything they went through up to this point has been to prepare them for something like this. But who would have thought that the people that were preparing them for war would be the ones they're going to war against?
So I'm probably about 75% done with the book. I have a little bit more to go. I'm almost there though, and I kind of feel like I'm starting to enjoy it slightly less the more I get through it, which is kind of crazy because I feel like it started off interesting and I was excited to jump back into the world, but now it just feels like so much has happened, yet not much has happened at the same time, which I know is kind of confusing and doesn't make sense. But I just think the book was just very, very long, like I've kind of been saying this whole video. In my last little update, I talked about the epic moment that was happening, like they were all flying out and I was like anticipating something crazy, like a big battle. But then they all just went to Xaden's house and just kind of like restarted the school again. And it was just like, they started doing the same exact thing that they had been doing. I expected a little bit more from that, I guess. And now they're talking to this Viscount, I think, because they need the luminary. And that part was intriguing enough, but I do just wish a lot of this would have just happened a little bit sooner, you know? Also, we have this whole thing with Kat too. Like, I totally did not see that coming, this whole little jealousy thing. And I keep thinking to myself, Xaden and Violet just have terrible communication. And this whole book kind of started with their communication problems and Xaden keeping secrets from her, and then it turned into Violet keeping secrets from her friends, and then also kind of keeping secrets from Xaden, but like wanting him not to keep secrets from her, but he was keeping secrets to protect her, and then she was doing the same thing to her friends, and then they kind of like came to a little breakthrough and we're like, okay, we're gonna tell each other stuff, and like Xaden started giving her information and like actually telling her about things. But then we get to this and it's just like this whole thing that he just never thought to tell her about at all. Pretty sure the Viscount was trying to marry Kat to Xaden a year ago and he said no. And that's just so wild to me that he just wouldn't even think to bring that up at all to her. I mean, maybe he was just trying to protect her and keep her from being jealous. But especially if you knew that she might potentially need to come here, you know, to do all this. But then I guess maybe that's the reason he was keeping her from this place. I don't know. There's just a lot of secrets and a lot of things being kept from each other. But like, we're an open rebellion now, you know, like he doesn't need to keep these secrets to protect her anymore. She's already seen as a traitor. And so I don't know how much I'm buying the whole secrets thing anymore. You know, it's kind of getting a little bit annoying and a little bit angsty, too angsty, like not in the good way angsty, just how much they keep having the same exact argument over like Xaden being overprotective and not telling her things, and then she being like, no, tell me things, I can take care of myself. But then, Violet, you say you can take care of yourself, but then you literally never learn to aim your lightning? What? This scene was a little while back, but when she was training, I think with Felix, we came to the realization that she never learned to aim and that she has the ability to actually shoot lightning out of her fingertips, which she never learned. Like, she never learned these fundamentals. And I understand that Carr was keeping her from learning these things on purpose because he was afraid of her and afraid of her powerful signet. But you would think that she would have taken the initiative to be like, oh wow, I should learn how to aim my own lightning, you know? Like, what did you expect? I wish she would have taken some sort of initiative and responsibility for herself and for her own power, because that's kind of the character she had been this whole time, and it was just a little bit weird to me that she just wouldn't and would just accept that. But I mean, like, I know that it was her teacher teaching her that, and maybe she could have thought, like, maybe I'll learn that in the future, but that just didn't fully make sense to me. It seemed like she would want to know how to at least aim her lightning.
His eyes burn fire red, the grass around him shriveling into brown blades. I push the thought Xaden's way and wait for my power to bleed out, wait for my death to make the venom unstoppable.
I can still remember the first time that we kissed. We feel alive so far. But at some point we miss a right turn. And when we find no one wants to stop, and as time goes by, I wonder.
So this is really random, but I was just like casually eating yogurt and listening to the audiobook. I'm on chapter 55 right now, at the end of chapter 55. And I was not filming or anything, and I was like, oh, you know, I'll just like listen for a little bit and like read a little bit and then update the camera later. But then something crazy just happened, so I had to get the camera because I had to talk about it. I paused and I'm about to listen to it more. Okay, earlier when Violet came to this realization about like two signets, because I forgot who she was talking to. Honestly, for the last several chapters, I've been a little bit bored and I've kind of been like, you know, ready to get through to the end of the book, honestly. But at one point she was having a conversation with somebody about the signets, and then someone who's from somebody's, like a dragon who's in someone's direct line, like family lineage, which honestly, a lot of that sometimes confuses me, but whatever. But somebody like that can have two signets, and she like had a little epiphany moment, and I was like, what is she talking about? Like, it's not her, you know, because the whole thing with Andarna and her, like, could she potentially have another signet with Andarna? I kind of think she might, but that's neither here nor there. But we just got to the realization that she was talking about Xaden, and he has a second signet this whole time? What? Like, I totally was not expecting that. And I like stopped everything and freaked out, and like, oh my goodness. I'm like, this boy is keeping way too many secrets and I'm getting so frustrated. Like, it's just been like secret after secret. And then his logic is like, oh, well, Violet, you need to ask me questions. Like, you don't even ask. Like, you don't ask me anything. Like, Xaden, y'all are like, I don't know, in love, inseparable, two peas in a pod, basically mated at this point via your dragons. Like, I don't even know. Y'all are like, you know, there's things that you just tell somebody that you love just because, especially important stuff like that. Like, he just loves to keep secrets. Like, he just loves to keep secrets from Violet, and it's kind of annoying. And I'm kind of getting a little bit frustrated with just their constant fighting and arguments and miscommunication. And like, Violet makes poor decisions too, honestly, often. And it's just like, it's so angsty and it's a lot, especially for being towards the end of the second book now, when like, it's not like it's been a slow burn for them to get together, you know, like they've been together and then they always fight about secrets and different things like that, and then we get dropped with this bombshell like him having a second signet potentially. Don't even get me started on the whole like engagement thing or like betrothal thing that he just never mentioned to her either. It just, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. Like, there's just so many secrets. That's where I'm at right now. So let's figure out what the heck his other signet is, because wow, mind blown.
How long do you think it takes for someone to fall out of love? He studies the skyline. I'm asking because I think it will take you all of a heartbeat once you know.
What?
What the hell could his signet
What is it?
love him? What if he's been manipulating my emotions this whole time? I would never do something like that. I didn't mean to say that out loud. He doesn't respond. Just tell me what it is.
He can read
Rolling
minds,
my fingers around
can't he?
I deserve better than this. Tell me the truth. You've always deserved better than me. And no one knows. He repeats, his voice dropping.
So what the freak is it? Like, how can nobody know his other signet? Like, what could it possibly even be? I'm getting so stressed. I'm getting so stressed.
Because if they did, I'd be dead. And my
Oh my gosh, I was right. He can read minds, can't he? He can read minds. He's been able to read minds this whole time.
Zayden's most pressing need is information.
Oh my
And she's
gosh.
angling his-
That's like in the first book when that one manifested the signet of reading the mind and he was immediately killed. That's what they have to be referring to, right? He can freaking read minds. And oh my gosh, that is so hypocritical too, because of the whole thing with Dane. Like, he has been able to read her minds this whole time. That is so intrusive if that's the case, and he never freaking told her. Like, and then that just seems like so crazy because he's been keeping all of these secrets from her, yet he gets to know everything she ever thinks. That doesn't add up for me.
Another rumble of anger vibrates his chest scales, and my heart lurches with pangs of...
Oh, he didn't know until just right now? Oh my gosh. Taryn didn't know. Violet didn't know. That's a big secret. I guess he like didn't want to get killed, but like, oh my gosh, that's crazy to be keeping that from her.
How many pre-thoughts has he eavesdropped on? Do I actually love him, or did he just say what I wanted to hear? Do the things I needed in order to... Less than a minute.
Okay, that's a good point too. Like, how much of it has just been genuine between them, or has he like read her intention or whatnot and then maybe changed what he wanted to say or wanted to do to do what she wanted? I mean, like, he had a lot of power with this signet here. Dang, that is just like a bombshell drop. Is that another reason that he wanted her to really get her shields up so that she could eventually shield him out? Because like, there was a time where she did end up shielding him out, but then he would always like, oh, well, like, I can always get through, or like, it's hard to shield me out, you know? Dang, like, I feel like my heart hurts more than anything. Like, I feel heartbroken for this whole situation, for the both of them. I want to come at it from like just being angry at Xaden for keeping such a huge secret from her, and like, I am in a way, but also I can still kind of see it from his side too. You telling somebody this, like, I mean, it's like an immediate death sentence, and then, you know, by telling somebody else, you're kind of putting their life at danger. It's literally going back to the exact things that the book started with: not wanting to tell Violet things, keeping secrets to keep her safe, to keep themselves safe, obviously, because like, you know, if he dies, and she could die. And it's just, wow, I did not expect to be shocked like this. I thought this book was just kind of gonna, you know, We were just gonna finish it, and we were just gonna do these wards, whatever. But like, wow, this is sad. I'm really sad. I'm sad right now because this is gonna cause so much contention and drama, and like, I feel like Violet will eventually forgive him, but like, I don't know how long it's gonna take. Like, obviously, there's been so many trust issues with them, and now this is just such a massive one. It's gonna be hard to rebuild that trust, obviously, and then knowing that he can always kind of know your intentions too. Wow.
Suddenly, the world I used to know, I see it differently. You woke me from a dream, now here's reality. Baby, baby, you are really hurting me.
Okay, so we just got the Jack Barlow reveal, and it's kind of random. Like, I just was not expecting that, but like, not in like, oh my goodness, I'm so shocked kind of way, but like, oh, he was a thing. I forgot about that, and he came back around, and he was a Venom the whole time? I don't really understand how that worked. Like, how was he a Venom since last book? Like, you could just become a Venom, like, just on your own? Like, did he have a teacher? Like, what? And then Nolan knew he was that the whole time, and that's why they made the serum. I'm just a little bit confused with the whole Jack Barlow thing. Just very, just random. That he was just here, and then he killed his own dragon. Like, dang. But he was just being so nice to Violet, but I guess that was the point? Like, what's up with that?
Nothing ever changes, and now I see, baby, you are hurting me.
Oh no, is that what's about to happen? The mom, she's gonna siphon Sloane's gonna siphon the power from Violet's mom. I'm like honestly starting to like Violet's mom, and I have been for a little while. She's had a good character arc, in my opinion.
Let me know when I go. Truthfully,
Oh my gosh! Oh no! Oh my god, I'm like getting sad. Oh, all three of you, and I'll get to see him soon. Oh, my heart. My heart.
the game that you've been playing felt so real to me. I once believed that you could be my destiny. Baby, baby, you are really hurting me. Who is she?
What? Does that mean Zayden is a Venom? What? When did that happen? Like during the battle? Why? What? Did he like siphon the power? I don't... That's what the red ring around his eye is, right? How is it? What? How? What the heck? Am I reading the right thing? Wait, this is Zayden's chapter now? Oh my gosh, I was like so confused for a second. I think this is the last chapter of the book. What? Oh my gosh, we're not gonna get a big resolution, or oh, don't tell me it's gonna end on Zayden being a freaking Venom.
How can you reject me so damn easily?
Oh
Who are you and what are we?
my gosh.
You are really hurting me.
Oh, that Zayden would turn for love.
I know you play your part, but baby,
Wait, is this a dream? What's going on?
how could I know?
What the heck? What? Zayden became a freaking Venom. Who would have thought? What? Oh my goodness, this was a long book. Like, dang, that felt like I was reading this forever. I feel like it took me like a week. I don't think it should have been that long. Like, if you compare it to Fourth Wing, like, look at that difference. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Like a low 3 stars. It's weird because I don't feel like it was a bad book. For the most part, enjoyed it throughout. Towards the end, I kind of did find myself like, you know, fast reading, just trying to get through it because You know, during the beginning, it was fun to get back into the world, to see what everybody was up to, kind of to learn about the information. But then towards the end, it kind of felt like, you know, we were repeating a lot of the same stuff, and I just wanted to get to the drama. I wanted to get to the juice. So I think that was definitely a big problem for me during this book, is it kind of just felt like there was a lot of filler moments mixed in with like the really big important moments. And the big important moments were super fun. I was so excited. I wanted to learn so much more about them. And then you turn the page, and then it was the next chapter, and it was just like them back in school in like battle brief or something after like Taryn just like did something crazy or whatnot or what else, you know, like there was just a lot of kind of pacing problems, maybe is what it really was for me, that just slowed down my experience, that I was like almost trudging towards the next big thing. I also kind of felt like Xaden and Violet's relationship was very exhausting in this one. At first, I guess I could kind of understand why she was so upset with him for like hiding stuff, and I thought they were gonna resolve that eventually, you know, because I was like, okay, from a storytelling perspective, you probably do want to start it off with a conflict, because this is the second book in the series. The first one, you had kind of the angst of like the whole enemies to lovers thing. This one, they're already together, so you kind of need something, but instead of kind of resolving their problems earlier on and then focusing the plot more on like the war and just like the external conflict and everything else going on, we like stayed on their relationship problems like literally the entire way, all the way through till the end, and it was kind of annoying. It just felt dumb. Like they kept going in a circle. Violet was getting annoyed that Xaden wouldn't tell her anything, but then she kind of was doing the same thing to her friends, but like she was keeping information to protect them, just like Xaden was to her. And then Xaden was like, oh, ask me questions. Like, you have to ask me and then I'll tell you stuff. And then like, he was just like keeping secrets, and it was just like too many secrets, too many like, oh, do I love him, but he keeps secrets. It was too much, like too much of this. Too many fights over the same thing. It just didn't get resolved. And then you get the massive bomb drop at the end that Xaden had a secret signet this whole time. So that was a big thing, that he could like read her intentions, I guess, like read other people's intentions this entire time. And then Violet was upset about that, but then she kind of got over that really quickly, which I mean, like we all know that she loves him and was gonna stay with him anyway. Some of my favorite moments were with Taryn. I love him. He's like my favorite character. I love when he defended Violet. I love that so much. That was probably my favorite part of the first book, was Taryn and Violet's relationship and just like the whole dragon bonding element. And I think that's something that made the first book so special, was because you were getting the first of different things, like Violet riding the dragon for the first time, bonding the dragon, like her kind of overcoming all these obstacles, going across the parapet. And I think that's why the first book just had such a different feel than this one. I also really liked Andarna. I liked that she was so sassy. It was so fun. I do wish we got her a little bit more, but I kind of understand now that I finished the book why we didn't, just because of the reveal and whatnot. But it kind of feels like we're saving that for the next book, along with the cliffhanger with Xaden there, him turning into a Venom, which is crazy. There's a lot of things that are unexplained, but I feel like they're unexplained because they're being set up for the next book. But I still do have a lot of other questions like throughout the book, but like honestly, I probably had questions from like this part in the book and I don't even remember them now. Like I just feel like there was so many things while I was reading, I was kind of confused. There was a lot of stuff thrown at us. Like we had the runes, we had the flyers now, that's a thing. We have people being able to have multiple signets. Violet might have a second signet at this point, potentially. Maybe she'll like have it in the next book. I don't really know. There was just a lot of info dumping, and I feel like it was kind of confusing at times, and I was just trying to be like, okay, like trying to get a hold of what was going on there. I do wonder what's gonna happen with Xaden becoming a Venom though. Like, is Sigale gonna still stay bonded to him? Does it even work? Like, can a dragon be bonded to a Venom? Like, if he's siphoning his power from the earth, he wouldn't be taking it from Sigale, right? So like, I don't really understand. And it was kind of weird how like we cut from the scene of Violet going to see him at the river or whatever, the ravine, and then she saw his red eyes, and then like next we're at Xaden's perspective, and then like they're just like asleep. Like, so she just saw him as a Venom and was just like, they like went to sleep. Like, it was just good night, like we're fine, you know, like she wasn't questioning it, or maybe they were like, oh, it's fine, we can, like, I can fix him. I don't know. And then I guess like this whole time, that's what Nolan had been doing, was working on the venins to try to come up with a solution, like a literal solution, like a serum solution. So there's that. So I mean, maybe they'll find a way to cure him. I don't know. They acted like you couldn't really cure venin. Stuff like that kind of goes back into what I was saying, was this book was just so long. I feel like there was a lot packed into it, like so many different kind of plot points, so many different things were packed into it all throughout. So many different kind of characters too that we were introduced to for a little bit and then like not referenced again for a really, really long time. And then maybe they pop back up like really briefly, and it was almost like were they even relevant in the first place? Like, did we even need them? Or maybe we could have like edited that part out, you know, stuff like that. And then there was just so many storylines. It almost felt like it could have been split up between more books, but then also you don't want to drag it out too much. I don't know, I feel so confused in my head on how to like fully think about this book, because like on one hand, there were definitely moments I enjoyed and I don't feel like it was bad, but on the other hand, it just definitely did not live up to the hype of the first book, and I found myself being a little bit disappointed because, you know, after Fourth Wing, I was expecting something super, super incredible, you know, us to really expand on it. And I mean, we did expand on the world and everything, but I mean, what we really did accomplish was, you know, getting the wards back up, which, I mean, the name is Iron Flame and that involved the wards, but like the whole book was like trying to get the wards back up and keep out the venin, and then like we did that, and that was kind of, and now Xaden's a venin, so that was that. Something else that was kind of funny to me and like kind of weird and strange, I guess, is like even when Xaden and Violet went and like took half the riders to like, what is it, Aracia? Is that how they say it? Wherever his house was, they like took them all over there and like they were like, we're gonna have a revolution, it's insane, you know? And then they like went and then they just like started school again. Like they just like started learning just the same old classes and everything. I don't know why I thought that was funny, and I was just like not expecting that fully, but like I guess it also kind of makes sense because they were just cadets anyway and they didn't know fully yet, but it was just like funny to see like this crazy epic moment of them like riding in like this huge, what do they call it, a riot of dragons, and then like they're just in school again. And I feel like those were kind of the moments I was talking about, that it was like such an epic moment and then it just like switches to just kind of like mundaneness, like the hype didn't carry on. I did like the twist about Andarna being a 7th breed of dragon. I thought that was cool. I feel like Andarna always had been kind of special, but then I guess I was a little bit confused because she said something like, I mean, I know she waited to be hatched, but then she said something about this is why I was left behind. Like, was it for the wards? Like, did they always know? And then like, if the Empyrean always knew that like she would be needed for like the wards, why didn't they just like offer to do it? Because wouldn't that be protecting their hatchlings? Like they kept a bunch of secrets too. I don't really know. There was like certain things I was a little bit confused about. I actually did kind of like the Xaden Venin twist just because I like a plot twist. I like a little bit of a cliffhanger. I do have questions about that, but like it is intriguing for the story in the future, I guess. Even though I will say, like, this book, I was super excited to read it and I like wanted to get it as soon as I could and just start reading it. The next book, even though like, I guess I'm interested to know how the story continues, I don't feel like I'm like freaking out like I want to read it as soon as it comes out, you know? And that's kind of sad to say. Like I feel like I lost a little bit of hype for the series, and like although I do want to know what happens, it's not like a high priority for me to want to go read or anything like that. A part of me feels like it was almost a little bit rushed, and I kind of wonder if that's because were they rushing to get it out to kind of follow up on the hype of Fourth Wing since it was so successful. I know that there's, I think, like 3 other books in the series, if not more. Maybe they're trying to get it out quickly for that reason. I also heard rumors that this might be turning into a TV show at some point in the near future. If that was the case, I could definitely see them trying to like churn out these books quickly. I don't know, these are just my speculations and thoughts, you know, nothing confirmed or anything, but that's just maybe could be a reason that this book did feel a little bit rushed and like the plot points kind of felt a little bit all over the place. I really liked Fourth Wing. This one was just kind of okay, and that's really all I have to say about that. I don't really know what else to say. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you like, oh, you're crazy, this is like 5-star, like, oh, 3 is way too high? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious what other people think about this book. From the people I follow on Goodreads, I saw a lot of other people giving it 3 stars, so I don't feel like I'm necessarily like in the minority of my opinion on this book, but I am curious to see what everybody else has to say as well. All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.